Hello, Matthew Glass with Glass Water Systems. This video today is about figuring out the proper equipment for your home and your situation. Basically, figuring out what size water softener do I need and what type of water softener should I buy. So I have brought in 4 of the most popular units, and after I go through my brief conversation about each, there'll be basically a slide presentation after this video where we will go through picking out the proper water softener system, the proper size, and any other items that would be advisable, the proper bypass, the proper salt tank. And I'll explain all those things briefly in this video, and there will be more detail in the actual slide presentation after the video. So I'm going to start out first with the 5600. All right, the 5600 Econominder water softener. This is our entry-level softener. It comes in both timered and metered. Metered means it'll only regenerate when you use a certain amount of water. Timered means it'll regenerate at a specific time. On this particular valve itself, 2 o'clock in the morning on a specific day. You pick it. Either you pick every day, every other day, every 6th day. It comes with a 12-day timer. So this is the 5600 Econominder. Good, solid, entry-level valve. Has been around since 1979. Do not be fooled. There are Chinese versions of this all over the internet. And consumers are selling you that too. Do not purchase those. The Chinese valves are bad. They are hard to get warranted for. They break. They're just not made that well. So I tell you again, stay with the Fleck Pentair 5600 brand. Please do not venture out into the Chinese market, which there's plenty of them out there right now. The next valve in line is the 2510. This water softener valve is probably the best well water valve out there. It is a little bit different than the actual 5600 in that it has on it a programmable wheel. So we can change the amount of backwash, the amount of forward rinse, the amount of brine it'll fill the tank, and that makes it a lot better for well water, okay? And it's a solid outdoor type valve with an environmental cover. It's a good solid system. This, you cannot change anything. The only thing you can change is how much salt it uses, how many gallons before it regenerates, and how many days when it regenerates. There are other versions of this, the 5600. There's the 5600 SXT, 5600 timer, and 5600 meter. As well as the 2510. There's a 2510 metered, a 2510 SXT, which is the electronic valve, and the 2510 timer valve, which I recommend for well water. Anytime you're in a residential valve, you should always go with metered. It's more economical. It doesn't waste water. It's better for everybody. Okay, the next valve in line of our most popular valves is the 7000 series. The 7000 series was designed in 2004, and it was made for the much larger homes, usually the homes that start at 3,000 square feet, and go, it can handle probably up to a 10,000 square foot house. All right. It is a high flow, light commercial valve, excellent system. We put a lot of them in restaurants. We put a lot of them in, again, larger homes. It'll handle anything, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 10, 12,000 square feet. It's a good, solid, light commercial, big home valve. The next one is my favorite. It is the Clack WS1 control valve. This valve and system we cannot sell to anybody outside of our territory, which is Tampa, Florida. We refer to this valve on our website as the Nelson C series, the Watts brand. It's sometimes sold under other names like Charger, Aqua Systems. They all have different names. And again, it is the Clack WS1, probably the best water softener valve ever made. It came out over 10 years ago, and really there's very few things that can go wrong with them. They're very easy to repair, and again, because of that, we stand behind them with a little bit better warranty for the consumer. All right, we've gone over the valves here. Let's go over sizes, and let's try and understand that. That's a lot of confusion on that. The basic sizes for a home are basically 4 or 5. You have a 24,000 grain, you have a 32,000 grain, you have a 40,000 grain, a 48,000 grain, a 64,000 grain, and probably the largest that you'd see in a residential for the most part is an 80,000 grain. Okay, what the heck does that mean? People ask me that all the time, and they have very mixed emotions, and they're confused a lot of times. I'm going to make it simple. If you have 10 grains of hardness, or 170 parts per million milligrams per liter of hardness, if you take that 10 grains and you divide it into, say, a 32,000 grain softener, that'll give you 3,200 gallons of soft water until it needs to regenerate with salt, which it will require 18 pounds to do so. Now let's take the example of, say, a 64,000 grain system. Still with the 10 grains of hardness, you'll get 6,400 gallons of soft water before it needs to regenerate with 36 pounds. So every cubic foot of resin equals 32,000 grains, and it requires 18 pounds of salt per regeneration to bring it back up to full capacity, which is 32,000 grain. Same thing with a 64,000 grain, except it takes 36 pounds because it's 2 cubic feet. So that gives you an idea. The other thing about the tank sizes and the grain sizes is as they get bigger, obviously the tank gets bigger. All right, if you look at the different sizes, a 24,000 grain system is usually an 8 by 44 inch tank, which is a little bit bigger than this. It's actually this size that's on this 2510. If you look at the next size up, which would be a 32,000 grain unit, it's a 9 by 48, which is the size of this one, the 7,000, which you normally would not put a 7,000 on a 9 by 48, but we do sell them. Okay? And then the next size up from that is a 40,000 grain, which has a 10 by 44 tank. And then the next size up from that's the 48,000 grain. It's a 10 by 54 tank. Then the 64,000 grain, it's a 12 by 48 tank or a 12 by 52 tank. And then the 80,000 grain system is a 13 by 54 tank. So if you're in a bigger house, say over 3,000 square foot, 4,000 square feet, you're going to want to start out with a minimum of a 10 by 54, 48,000 grain unit for the flow rates mainly. Okay? So you're going to want to look at that. You're going to want to either get the WS1. All these valves here can work for 48,000 grains. So I've kind of explained that briefly. The slide presentation will do it better. The next thing we're going to talk about is what resin do I pick? That is a matter of the water quality you have. So we offer on our website 4 or 5 brands of resin. I'm going to start out with a standard resin. The standard resin is an 8% cross-linked resin, high capacity, will produce 32,000 grains of softness per cubic foot. That is the main Nelson brand is what we sell. We sell Alamo brand. I mean, it just depends on the different units. The next step up from that is a 10% chlorine-resistant resin. Most of that's manufactured by Nelson in terms of the resins. And that is a more chlorine-resistant resin. It will give you about 30 to 60% longer lifetime for your resin. Which if you're in a high chlorine area like Florida or Arizona or California, places that heavily chlorinate their water, it's a good investment and it's not that much of an upgrade. The next one is, we'll see on the site, Cybron C249, which has been replaced by our Resin Tech CG8, or we use the Nelson brand black resin. Same 8 cross-link capacity, same specs as the Golden 8 cross-link capacity resin. So that's the next choice. Then we have Purolite SST60 resin. This resin was made to save salt. Very popular in places like California. You basically can take the same 32,000 grain softener and you can regenerate it for about half the amount of salt. So if we're looking at 18 pounds, you can do it between 9 to 11 pounds with the SST60 and have the same capacity. That's pretty great in terms of saving salt. The only thing is that with the SST60 resin, we recommend that you put some sort of post-carbon filter, because the resin sometimes has a tendency to make the water taste like chemicals. So therefore we recommend that you have a carbon filter after for drinking and things like that, so the water doesn't taste chemical. Then finally, the last resin I'm going to talk about is fine mesh resin. Fine mesh resin is designed for iron water, where your standard resin will take out about 3 parts per million or milligrams per liter of iron. Your fine mesh resin will take out about 8 parts per million or 8 milligrams per liter of iron. That's clear water iron. It's not designed for water that's not coming out clear. It's only designed for clear water iron. So if you have water that has color coming out of the line, you need to look at iron filters. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is the brine tank size. We basically sell 4 different size brine tanks. We sell the 11 by 11 by 34, the 15 by 17 by 36, the 15 by 36, which is about the same as the 15 by 17. You'll either get either or. An 18 by 33 brine tank and an 18 by 40 brine tank. That's the most common residential sizes. We sell all types of sizes there. So if you want a bigger one, it is available. The 18 by 40, which is the largest, will hold 400 pounds of salt. The 18 by 33 will hold 300 pounds of salt. The 15 by 17 by 36s, or the 15 by 36 will hold 240 pounds of salt. And then the 11 by 11 by 34 will hold 150 pounds of salt. So that gives you an idea. Now, the last thing is people ask about what the heck is a brine grid? Brine grids are great for giving you good, fully saturated brine. But I mainly recommend them for arid regions that don't have high humidity. Florida's a high humidity state. You don't really need it here. Las Vegas, Arizona, I guess Nevada, Arizona, out west, it might not hurt to have one. So that kind of gives you an idea. All of our water softeners come with what we call safety cutoffs. Inside the brine tank, there's a safety cutoff. It looks a lot like similar to what a toilet cutoff is. Or if the water gets too high, it cuts the water off from filling the brine tank. It's very important to have that. It makes a huge difference if something ever happens to the softener, so you don't flood your garage with salt water. So we do have that. And then finally, the last thing that people ask me questions about is gravel. Gravel is required for units that are what we call 2 cubic feet and bigger, a 64,000 grain system. You can get gravel in any of our units. If it's in the budget, I would do it. I've been putting gravel in units for years, and I do recommend it if it's in the budget. Some of our units include gravel, some do not. Just take a look at our website. Anyhow, I think I've given you a good brief beginning of how to pick out a water softener. Now there's other things you can add to water softener. Carbon-free filters, they're wonderful. They make the water taste good throughout the entire house. This unit right here, this Clark WS1, this is what we call a bubble tank. You can get that in other versions of the valve without the Clark WS1. You can get it in 2510, 7000, 5600. And you basically have a carbon filter up top and a water softener on the bottom, and you get excellent drinking water. This is an extremely popular setup. I think I have answered all of your questions, but again, the slideshow will further do that. Again, you're welcome to call us at Glass Water Systems. Phone numbers 1-877-345-2770, 1-877-345-2770. Our email address is glasswatersystems@yahoo.com. Again, glasswatersystems@yahoo.com. And I appreciate your time today, and thank you for watching our video. Again, please give us a call. We do match or beat, depending on how low the cost is, competitors, whether it's on the internet or in your local area. Just give us a call and we'll work through it. Again, my name is Matthew Glass, and I appreciate your time. Thank you. Bye.